Hey there, Coastal Bend. KIII Sports Director Chris Thomason, joined by Islanders men's basketball coach Steve Lutz. And Coach, it's been a minute. Thanks for joining us again.
No problem, Chris. I'm glad to be on and glad to reconnect.
Yeah, so let's jump right in. It's been a little bit of tough sledding for you guys over the last week. You've dropped 3 of your last 4, a couple at the UTEP Tournament, and then last night to UTRGV. You did have a win over Alcorn State, sandwiched in between there. So what are some things that you guys are working on heading into the off week?
Well, first, thanks for making a guy feel good about his team and his record, Chris. I appreciate you on that one. But no, we went to UTEP and played in their tournament, and it was a really good basketball tournament. We've got a chance to play 3 really good basketball teams, 2 on a neutral floor and 1 on their home floor. And we gave ourselves opportunities to win, 2 of the 3, and we came up short. So, to get to your direct question, we've got to get better defensively. That was our calling card last year, and obviously, we were one of the teams in the tops in the country in terms of turning people over and getting ourselves easy baskets, and we've got to get back to that.
Yeah, for you, are you a coach that you would rather have your guys get back on the court and get it righted, the ship righted there, or are you glad to have some off days to kind of work on it in practice?
Well, we need to get better, and you're going to get better in practice, so we gave them the day off today just because we're heading into finals. And obviously, you're here to be a student athlete first. But if it were up to me, man, I'd like to have practice last night when we got back from UTRGV because, the competitor in you wants to get better and wants to get that bad taste out of your mouth.
Yeah, so you mentioned the finals. Is it tougher this time of year having guys that are having to deal with, people forget that they're student athletes too, so that they're having to deal with that as well?
Yeah, of course. And not only do they have the normal things that every student athlete has on their mind, now they've got an opportunity, or they've got to make sure that they do well on their finals, because ultimately if you don't do well on your finals, you're not going to be eligible and you don't get to play the game that you love. But we've got good students. Last year we were above a 3.0 as a cumulative GPA for our basketball program, which is phenomenal, and we'll have a chance to do that again here this fall as long as we do well in our finals. But yeah, there's a lot of different things that weigh on these young people's minds. There's no questions.
Yeah, so what was the mindset coming back from the Valley?
Well, it was a somber bus, I think that the guys felt like that, number one, UTRGV outcompeted us. They played better. They played harder. They out-rebounded us. And we did not play our best basketball. And that's a credit to them. But, you played them 10 days earlier or 2 weeks earlier, and, you beat them by 20-plus points in a resounding fashion. And then to go on the road and have your opportunities to win the game, have your opportunities to put the game out of reach and not to do so, that's very disheartening. So the guys, as they should be, should not have been, or were not happy on the bus ride home.
Say, is that tough letting it go late, or would you rather lose a game by like 20 points?
I never want to lose by 20 points. I never want to lose any time, Chris, but I darn sure don't want to get blown out. And, we had opportunities to go up, 10, maybe even 11 points. And during those times, we either had a bad defensive possession and then followed up with a bad offensive possession. And now, it's a 3-point game instead of an 11-point game. And that's solely upon us. We've got to be better on both sides of the basketball, and we've just got to be better playing together.
So it might be a bad time to ask you this question right now, coming off of last week, but are you a holiday season type of guy? The Christmas music, the movies, all that jazz?
I absolutely am. Our house was decorated, before Thanksgiving began. My wife and kids did a fantastic job with that. I'm not as much the movie kind of guy. Obviously, you've talked about that before and asked me what I've seen lately, but certainly in terms of enjoying my family and the holiday spirit and being thankful for what you have. We do a Secret Santa gift exchange among the team every year and have fun with that. So, no, I love the holidays. And
in the books. We'll see you next week.